Hey and welcome to a new week in the AMG on Lime Rock. This track is easy to learn and fun to race, but one thing I want to mention is that multi-class races can become quite chaotic, especially in the early stages. If you are driving with faster cars, you should always have an eye on your mirrors and be prepared for overtakes. Sometimes it might even be worth it to lift and help them to overtake you in order to get a clean entry into a turn. The second last corner is a good example for this. If you get pushed to the outside, you will lose time all the way down to the finish line. A small lift after the chicane won't hurt you, and on top you will avoid going too wide into a turn where you need all the grip you can get. We are approaching turn 1, which offers the only real option for attacks. It's possible to use the draft and send it on the inside line, so make sure to cover it or use it for your own attack. Hit the brakes between the 3 and 200 meter boards and trail brake deep into the turn. The straight is quite short and in most cases it's better to stay in 5th gear. An exception can be a slipstream, which you want to use to attack. Keep in mind that you have to brake earlier when you attack on the inside and you won't be able to see all the boards on the left. Your only marker is the blue cone, which is placed around the 200 meter mark. Extend your braking deep into the turn and be patient on the throttle. You don't want to jump between brakes and throttle, but instead focus on a smooth and clean deceleration followed by a smooth acceleration. This means that once you start to accelerate, you hold the throttle and slowly push it deeper until you reach the exit. Try to stay on a tight line, don't get carried too far to the outside and attack the curb on the exit. There's no marker for the next turn, you have to develop a feeling for it and brake shortly before you reach it. We will use this turn to prepare a good run onto the short straight, that's why you want to aim for a tight line. Stay on the inside, attack the exit curb and exit on the far left side of the track. That way you get a wide entry for the next turn and all you need to make it is a small lift before you turn in. This line allows you to carry most of your speed onto the short straight, which saves you a lot of time. The chicane is tricky and you have to be really precise, that's why you shouldn't risk anything in the upcoming braking zone. I'm using the kink in the white line as marker. Drive onto the curb before finally turning in. This little bit of extra space makes a huge difference and it becomes easier to hit a good entry. It's also one of the key corners for the AMG because the car is quite understeery in slow corners. Making the entry wider helps you to diminish the impact of this weakness. Aim for a tight line but avoid the red curbs. I did some experiments, hit them a few times and almost always ended up with some kind of damage on the hood. Over the course of the race this damage can add up and you might lose some straight line speed, so just try to avoid them. In the last sector it's important to keep your momentum up, to carry as much of it as possible onto the last straight. Tap the brakes slightly before turning in and aim for a smooth line. Now, this might be a bit setup dependent, but in most cases you want to avoid the curb on the inside. The AMG, like GT3s in general, doesn't have a lot of downforce and since this curb is steep, it will unsettle your car quite a lot. Corrections can cost you momentum, so you are better off avoiding it. Lift after the compression and before turning in to hit the apex of the last turn. I hope you enjoyed the guide. The Cockpit Lap will come up next. If you are looking for more tips, you should visit the Discord. We have a cool community over there and also a lot of useful databases with links to various tools and lab files. It's worth checking out. I wish you good luck for your next races and see you next time.